Welcome to the Black Magic Woman podcast with Mundanara Bales.
Wadamuli, and welcome to the Black Magic Woman podcast. My name is Mundanara Bales, and as always, following proper protocol is very important in this country now known as Australia. So I would like to begin by acknowledging the Kabi Kabi peoples, who are the traditional owners here on the Sunshine Coast, and also pay my respects to their elders past and present, and acknowledge that this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Wadamuli is greetings in my father's language, and this episode in particular is very special, or even close to my heart, as I pay tribute to the late Uncle Archie Roach. Even though this is a Garma special episode, I heard the passing of Uncle Archie whilst at Garma, which is a festival in Arnhem Land at Gulkula on the lands of the Gummidge people. A festival sponsored by the Yolngu Foundation and other partners. I'd also like to acknowledge the Yolngu Foundation for the amazing work that you've been doing, in particular all of the volunteers that worked endlessly and tirelessly over 4 days recently at the Garma Festival. I'd also like to acknowledge AGL and thank them for the invitation for myself to participate, to be there, and also to be able to record the interviews and yarns on the actual site of Gulkula. To be able to bring Clint, my producer, and also to have my friend Krista Lee from Coles, who you're going to hear from in this episode. This is part 1. There's about 2 more that's going to come, so there's a lot to get through. But in terms of just acknowledging Uncle Archie and his contribution to this nation, every single song that he wrote and sang, along with his late wife, Annie Ruby, I'm sure touched the hearts and souls of many people around the world. Uncle Archie was like a brother to my father. I had the privilege to grow up with Uncle Archie, constantly visiting our house in Brisbane and at every single Woodford Mullaney festival, sitting around the table and hearing him jam and sing to the early hours of the morning. They were the only nights that we could stay up past our bedtime. But to hear the sad news whilst at the festival took me a long time to really comprehend that such a very important person, a very special Aboriginal man, had lost his life at a significantly young age compared to mainstream Australians. Grandmother is a song that he wrote and dedicated to my grandmother, Maureen Watson, and that's a song that you're going to hear throughout this episode. I just want to reflect on my time at Garma in terms of the people that I got to see, people that I've met, so the new friendships that I've formed, and for the speakers that I got to hear and listen to try and understand different, themes and topics about Indigenous affairs, what's currently happening, and what we hope that will happen now that we've got a new Prime Minister. And as we all know, that Albanese mentioned at the festival that we will have a referendum next year for Aboriginal and Torres Strait people to be voted or included in the Constitution. So it was a big moment, and I was really happy to be there and to share that moment with a lot of you mob that are on the podcast, and also mob that are probably watching or listening to this podcast. I got to talk to a brother called Tyrone Bean, a Kabi Kabi man. Hearing his story was amazing, but hopefully, as I said to him, we have to get him on and have his own episode. Talking to people like journalists, very well-known journalist, Stan Grant, and how he summed it up in terms of, the experience of Garma, that you can have an experience anywhere in this country. Garma is in every corner of this country. So I love that, and I've never heard of Garma being summed up like that before. There's people like Catherine from AGL, and Catherine was one of the executives that I got to camp with and got to sit around the fire with and yarn with and build a relationship beyond the transactional, delivering training as part of Black Card, but just to be out with nature, no mobile phone reception, hardly any internet or mobile phone, I had no watch on for the 4 days, but to just sit and be and to really enjoy the company of each other. The theme was looking forward, looking towards the future. And to me, it's about our future generations. It's about ensuring that our history in this country stretches as far in front of us as it does behind us, as my Aunt Lilla Watson would say. And that's all of our responsibility and obligation in this country, to ensure that our future generations inherit a healthy planet with clean water and clean air. And like I said, that's all of our responsibility. But I also want to acknowledge there's 2 senior members of the Gumatj peoples, and also in the Northern Territory, a very senior man who was known as the master of the Iraqi. So I want to acknowledge the sorry business in our families and communities for the Yolngu people, and also acknowledge the sorry business with Uncle Archie Roach, and extend my condolences to his family, especially his sons, Eben and Amos. I really do hope you enjoy this special episode, which is the Garma special, and also a special tribute to the late Uncle Archie Roach.
I'm down in Brisbane with this ringing in my head. The words of wisdom and my sweet grandmother said.
Well, about time that we've got Brother Stan Grant on the podcast.
You're tracking me down.
But don't you worry, I've always said this, we're going to get an ep.
I want to do that.
Your own 1 hour episode.
Lovely.
You deserve the whole hour. But we're here now on the lands of the Gumatj peoples, and we're at Garma 2022. And as we can see in the background, it's just a beautiful place to be. And I just want to know, is this your first time at Garma?
No.
You've been here many times?
I've been here several times, and it's always the same sense that I get, is that it's like going back home for me, to my country, you for your country. You know, there is a depth and a connection here that's bigger than Australia, if you know what I mean.
I do.
You know, it's eternal, it's permanent. You are on land that people have lived on, cared for, and been formed by, and it's a different connection to place. There is a different realm of time and place, and I really feel that. You'd feel that. As First Nations people, we experience that. I think for non-Indigenous people to come here too, it is a connection to something that really sits at the heart of what it is to call yourself an Australian.
Yeah.
You know, Australia as a name, as a country, doesn't speak to the depth of the connection here, and it offers everybody a sense of a connection beyond just a modern idea of country or nationhood.
So it's not just a festival. And I think when a lot of corporates see Garma as an opportunity to come and immerse themselves in the oldest living culture in world history, here on the lands of the Gumatj, we are literally at Gulkala Peninsula in the Northern Territory. It's more than a festival, and you just explained that. In terms of the people that are speaking, what's been your highlight so far?
I'm about to hear the Prime Minister, so I'm hoping that that will be a highlight. In terms of what, even the word festival, it's more sacred than that, isn't it? And one of the things that I've noticed being here previously and being here now and listening to people now is that the speeches and the tone reflects the sacred space. It reflects a space that is First Nation space.
Yeah.
There's a deep respect that I think people enter into because they are in this space, and I see that reflected in all of the speeches. I think there's always a sense of a sense of being in a place of learning and knowledge and sharing and humility. So I really do see that. I see a lot of that humility. I'm interested to see what the Prime Minister says now, and we know that he's going to talk about a voice. And we know that we're getting closer to a vote on a voice.
Yeah.
There is a whole debate and discussion to be had about that. But voice, as we're reminded here, comes from place.
Of course.
And that's what I see in the speeches. Voice that reflects place.
And I'm going to ask you one last question. In terms of that opening ceremony, for a female out of respect, we were told to bow our heads. So I missed what a lot of the men around me were saying. You just missed the most amazing performance. That respect. I am here with a lot of non-Indigenous people, so I'm supporting one of my clients. And I asked the women to put their heads down. They were dying to just have a look and have a peep. So we missed a little bit of the dancing, but there was still, in terms of even Jack Thompson, his kind of speech, Albanese with
Jack's part of this place.
He is part of this place.
He is part of the Gunapingu family.
He is. And you could see that. And I've got goosebumps all over me.
It's beautiful. And I love how you talk about respect. In Wiradjuri language, in Yamara, the idea that it is a respect and a silence and a humility that comes from knowing that the place you are on is bigger than us. And there is ritual associated with that respect. It's something non-Indigenous people as well can understand, surely, because Anzac Day has come to embody that same sense of bowed head, respect and ritual. And I think ritual's really important. It's missing from our modern world, and it's part of how we acknowledge our place and our different roles, men and women, different roles in country as well. That respect sits at the heart of everything.
Well, I just wanted to say, in terms of that acknowledgement of country, which is an ancient diplomatic tradition, that's a way for all Australians. I say all the time, Black Card training, for non-Indigenous Australians to see that acknowledgement of country as an invitation to participate in our culture. That's one way of showing respect for our culture, but it's one way for them to be part of it. And I think when you said that's missing in modern Australia, that ritual, I keep reminding people that there's many opportunities for you to immerse yourselves in our culture. The acknowledgement of country is one opportunity. There's many other opportunities. Listening, being with elders.
Meeting people.
Yes, being on country.
But the first thing that comes to mind when I think about this, and I see it amongst our old people, and I feel it when I go home, and it's demanded of me, particularly when I'm in my country or when I'm in this country, is humility. And we live in an age and a world where the I is so important. A selfie age, right? We live in a world where everybody claims a voice to speak. But to be in a place where you have to bow your head, where you have to know your place and feel your place, that humility is essential to being able to connect. And it's what comes naturally to our old people. It's what is it sits at the heart of our culture, the humility of knowing our place.
Wow. What a wonderful way to kick off the Garma special edition for the Black Magic Woman podcast. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
I want to yarn with you all day.
Yeah, we'll
and
do
I know
that.
we're going to get an opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. I'm looking
but I
forward
just
to
want
that.
to say, for people that are listening to this podcast, whether it's Bumma Bipra Media, Aboriginal radio station in Cairns, or Cherbourg Radio, that listen to and play Black Magic Woman, or maybe one of the airlines, I'm pretty sure it's part of their in-flight entertainment. Hint, hint, you might be hearing it soon.
Good.
What would you like to say to people that have never heard of Garma?
I would like to say that Garma is everywhere. Don't think that you just come here to this special place and have an experience. You can experience this everywhere. I think that's the message of Garma for me. It is a connection to something that exists right across this country. You can experience Garma in Mount Druitt.
I agree.
You can experience it in Burke, Moree, or Mount Isa.
Or Redfern.
Redfern. That's the thing. What you carry here, you can carry elsewhere.
I love it. And that theme, looking forward to the future. To just to wrap it up now, because I just can't get enough. What's your views in terms of looking forward to the future? What does it mean to you, or what do you hope for?
Younger people. I'm really mindful now. Look at my own life and my parents, and we're all at that stage where our old people are passing and more is being asked of us to step up into that void, into that breach.
Yes.
And I reflect on my own life and my own journey and the wisdom and the humility that comes with age, and then looking at the younger people who bring fire and urgency that I don't have as an older man now, that I had as a younger person. So looking to the future, I look to them and I go, good on you. You get out there and rattle a cage.
Yeah.
You get out there and say the things that I can't say now, because I have a different role in life, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll get to this stage in life where they'll walk into that wisdom and humility, and another generation will take their place. That's how it's meant to be.
Love it. Well, thank you so much. It's an absolute privilege to have you on the podcast, and I can't wait for our 1 hour app.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
So stay tuned, people. Stan Grant, if he's not on the next 6 months, everyone start emailing him. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thanks, sis.
Thank you so much, my sister, for stopping by. As you can see, I've set up office for the day here. In terms of your name and who you're representing, can you please share with our listeners and viewers?
Thanks, sis. So my name's Crystalee Houghton and I'm a Pita Mayawali Karawali woman. My family are from northwest Queensland, so most people won't know where that is, but it's a beautiful town called Boolyah, and I'm the head of Indigenous Affairs at the Coles Group.
And what brings you to Garma?
So it was a fantastic opportunity. I was invited by the Black Card to come along, joining the group at AGL as well. It's been a fantastic couple of days, just immersing in culture, listening to stories, having great yarns around the fire with different people.
And I heard you even was standing in line waiting for food, and you meeting people, queuing
for food, having a yarn. People have been so open and generous and just having conversations about, introducing themselves, which I really loved.
Yeah.
Yesterday I met an amazing man who previously worked for Swinburne University. He's comes from Indonesia, and he was sharing with me the research he's doing about the moccasins. And so I had an hour in line with him talking about this fantastic work that he's doing, and I've just loved hearing lots of people's different stories and journeys. This place brings lots of different people together, and everybody's really interested in immersing themselves in the beautiful Yolngu culture here.
All right, and we are on the beautiful land of the Gummidge peoples. What's going to be, and I know we're only kind of like a day into the festival so far, what's been your highlight?
I think the opening ceremony yesterday, presenting the gifts and hearing from the Prime Minister, I was sitting with you at that time. For both of us, I felt like it was an emotional moment. I felt really blessed that we were actually able to hear his voice, and hopeful that he's actually speaking the truth about his commitment to following through on the Voice Treaty True.
Yeah, definitely agree. And for people that are listening that have never heard of this festival in Arnhem Land, what would your message be to them?
My message is that, and listening to the elders today talking, we're all connected in some way. And so no matter where you are, there is an opportunity for you to learn about the local people, learn about the country which you're standing on, immerse yourself in the beautiful culture of over 60,000 years that we have in this country. And you don't need to go overseas to do that. You can come and visit lots of different places across our beautiful lands.
And what a lovely way to wrap up our little yarn. I just want to say thank you for jumping on, and can't wait to get you on for a full episode.
Yes,
we're talking about that. People, Crystalee Houghton is going to be on Black Magic Woman.
Thank you.
Thanks, sis. We're here at Garma, and we meet again. But for people that don't know who you are, do an introduction. Who are you? Who's your mom? And what brings you to Garma?
Nice. Thank you for having me. Nyara Naklim, Komadaru, Umbalawil Tyrone, Kabi, Waka Waka, Nungmuragapan, Bindle and Woolgookabah, North and South East Queensland. Hi, how are you? My name is Tyrone. I am Kabi, Waka Waka, Nungmuragapan, Bindle and Woolgookabah, North and South East Queensland. We've got someone flying over here at the moment.
This is what happens when you're in the outback. And we are very remote, and there's a plane that drove over. I haven't heard a plane.
I've actually never heard it, yeah.
I literally have not heard a plane drive over in the last 3 days.
It's a sign. They don't want me to talk.
Bros, I was just going to say, I didn't know that you had connections to the Waka Waka people.
Yep.
My grandfather literally was a Waka Waka man, but in those days, you put your head down, you didn't talk about where you was, where your country is and stuff. So Theodore, Einsvold, a lot of them mob. But also in terms of Townsville, did you say Walgarikaba?
Yes.
Well, my mob are Wirri people, which is next door neighbours to you. So I don't know, we could be related.
We could be.
So what brings you here to Garma?
Yeah, so yes, I'm here with work, here with McKinsey & Co, a global management consulting firm. But we got last minute tickets here, and I thought it'd be important for myself, particularly with the work that I want to do at McKinsey, and support my work within this space. So I thought I'd have to be here. We're here literally just being present.
Yeah.
We're coming in here with humility. I'm saying we because I do represent, but my colleagues have been super supportive, really want to listen, want to learn, and literally undergo the counsel that I provide. And I'm pretty impressed with my colleagues actually, all non-Indigenous, but here and just want to be here.
So you're the only black fella in your camp?
Yeah.
Well, next time, if you're coming again with the same mob, ask them, can we bring another First Nations person to support you in kind of, I think it's so important. Like, I'm in a camp where there is literally one other Aboriginal person, and I brought her along. So big shout out to Krista Lee. She's actually, I'm pretty sure she's the head of Indigenous Affairs at Coles, and she couldn't get a ticket. And when AGL said we got a spare ticket, someone down with COVID, I rang her. I said, sis, I got you a ticket. So in terms of having another black fella, it's been pretty good.
Yes.
And I'm going to say really quickly, and I haven't mentioned this in any of my yarns yet, so this is quite special, and I'm not going to get emotional. But at the corporate dinner last night, I got news that a very close friend of my family, my dad considered Uncle Archie Roach his brother. And I got to grow up with Uncle Archie in my family, playing in my kitchen. My dad was his taxi driver. I spent 10 Woodford festivals with Uncle Archie, and Auntie Ruby was like my mum's sister. So during the dinner, sitting with these corporates, mostly all non-Indigenous people, I was grieving, and the grief overtook me, and it was during Uncle Jack Thompson's speech, and I just sat at the table and just cried.
Yeah, look, I actually want to touch on that as well. We, one of the brother boys, he's from North Queensland, and he sent us a group message last night actually, acknowledging Uncle Archie, and along with one of my brother boys who's just standing here, we always sit around the campfire and we always listen to Uncle Archie, and we've got a connection to him as well. One of the fellas, his father actually played in No Fixed Address, played North India as well, and played with Uncle Archie. He's from Gippsland. And they all spent time with Uncle Archie. So we had access to that space as well, and we. Last night, the same thing. Yeah, I felt the same thing, and today that
heaviness.
And today I woke up and that's why I've been speaking to you. I just want to sit here, hang out with you today. I don't really want to be around anyone. Work's super supportive, but definitely having someone else in would have made that experience a little bit better, and not alone. But it's also talking about bringing extra people in next year. Where I am the only recognised First Nations person in the firm, which is crazy. It's hard. It's a great challenge. So hopefully next year, we come here, or we even spoke about maybe going somewhere else. Go to the Laura Dance Festival as a firm. Go see everyone. Get amongst different mobs, and hopefully by then half the tickets are blackfellas who are working at the firm.
Exactly.
So that's a great shout out, and hopefully if they're listening, we can get this over the line.
So for people that have never heard of Garma or the Yothu Yindi Foundation, you should jump online and look it up. It is a festival that I would say should be on your bucket list, but it's not that cheap as well. So do your homework, start saving now, especially if you're a really big corporate organisation.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to kind of find, key people that are influencers and decision makers to really get them involved if we're really going to achieve not just reconciliation, but we want truth, justice, and we want a treaty.
Correct.
Right? So reconciliation will sort itself out. But on that note, if there's any last words that you want to leave anyone with, what would it be?
Sis, we're having conversations, and there's conversations around the campfire. It's great. These conversations have been happening for years, right? And it's still taken us this long to get to where we're at. We're definitely at a stage in our life where us mob, who have now a seat at the table, who have entered the arena, it's up to us to, we're now holding people accountable.
Yeah.
And we now have a voice to hold people accountable, and it's not good enough if you are an ally, it's actually not good enough to say that you've gone to Garma, you saved your money up to go to Garma to see the red dirt and have no phone reception for 5 days, and that's it. And what was said yesterday in one of the forum is that you don't have to come back here. It's what you do with it. You've now been passed the baton. We hold the baton in everything that we do. Now we've got our allies who've actually got this baton as well, and we need to hold these people accountable to continue running alongside us. So
I love it. Otherwise, there's burnout.
Exactly.
Well, I love the fact that we actually can end on a positive note. That we're passing the baton. We're passing the baton on, but at the same time, we don't ever let go of the baton. We turn up day in and day out, and we won't stop turning up because it's who we are.
Exactly.
And our old people have made sure that we keep going.
We are living the life that they dreamed of.
We definitely are. But a big shout out to my nephew Matt. I know that he will be watching and listening. But stay tuned and we'll get you on a full episode of Your Own Tyrone.
We said that last time.
Thanks for dropping it.
That she sits at
Thank you so much for stopping by and jumping on the podcast. Can you share with our listeners and viewers as well, what's your name and what organisation are you here representing?
I'm Lucy Chen from SBS Mandarin program.
Excellent. So what brings you to Garma?
I think first of all is NITV and SBS Mandarin, SBS Cantonese radio and SBS Chinese website bring me to here. Why we are doing this job, I think our thinking is that we're going to let our vast community and audiences, which we are all migrants, we come from another land, but we are welcome here in this land. But many members of our community might not aware that who is welcome us, who is the first residents on this land. So SBS Mandarin and Chinese radio are trying to let the audiences understand the country they're living in, whose land they are sharing and who is welcome them. And I think if we are going to go hand in hand, become good friends and build a better tomorrow, we have to understand each other first. And I also think Garma Festival is a great window and door for our Chinese community to understand the culture, the original people. But I do recommend that if our Chinese community audiences have the opportunity, please come to the Garma Festival yourself. It's going to change your life.
Definitely. So what are you going to take away from this festival? What's one of your biggest highlights so far?
Yeah, actually our radio every day and our website, our Facebook are live broadcasting this festival. We are upgrading all the information and all the news which is going on. As I read in the Garma Festival website, they say don't have any pre-assumption of this festival. Just come here, experience, listen, and respect. So for this reason, I can't tell you what I'm going to bring, what is the best one. I think every moment I'm enjoying it and I'm listening, I'm feeling it, and I feel a better understanding and connection with this land and the people here.
Wow, what a great answer. And thank you so much for jumping on the podcast today. And it was lovely to meet you in person because we've met already on Zoom.
Yes, and I recognize you by your snake earring, and you told us this is the symbol of
my totem.
Your
the
totem,
carpet snake, my father's totem that I wear, and I feel my father with me every time I put these on, which is interesting.
It's so special because I think the Chinese people also have very strong connection with families, with their ancestors. So this also is a great thing to bring us together.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, finally got to meet you in person, and the first thing I said to you, are you actually... I didn't realise you were so tall.
You can't tell on computer, can you?
You cannot tell, but I don't know how many years it's been that we've been literally Zooming and meeting behind a laptop. So it's so good to meet you in person. So thank you so much for jumping on my podcast. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to not just our listeners, but we've got viewers as well now on YouTube. So if you've been listening to Black Magic Woman, you can now actually watch us on Black Magic Woman's YouTube channel, and that will be in the show notes. So can you tell our listeners and viewers your name and the organisation that you're here with? And is this your first time to Garma?
Absolutely. Well, firstly, I guess pleasure's all mine. It's been awesome listening to the pod for such a long time. So to be up here and get involved is amazing. But my name is Fallon Wanganeen. So I'm an inclusion program manager at ANZ Bank. So basically responsible for our full-time and school-based Indigenous traineeship programs all across our branch network across Australia, which is awesome. But I'm a proud Narungga man, beautiful York Peninsula in South Australia. So for any of your listeners or viewers that have been down that way, they'll know, and for those who haven't, get down there. First time to Garma. It's been a couple of years in the waiting now, with obviously COVID and whatnot been cancelled a few times. So amazing to finally get up here. Was on a bit of self-isolation myself in the last couple of weeks beforehand, because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get sick or have something happen and not be able to get up here. So the last couple of days it's just exceeded all expectations. Getting to meet a lot of people for the first time, and again bumping into those LinkedIn and Zoom and Teams people from a work perspective as well. It's just been amazing. Well,
I've got to say really quickly, in terms of if people don't know where your country is, or people should know who your family is, in terms of the last name, I'm not a big AFL fan. I'm just going to be straight out. I am a Redfern Rabbitohs girl, or they call them South Sydney Rabbitohs, but we claim them because they train at Redfern Oval. So your family, we won't go into it because we need to go literally get you on the podcast and talk about you and your family, where you come from. But the Wanganeen last name is quite well known in AFL.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a very famous name, particularly in South Australia and Victoria. So Uncle Gavin played for Essendon and Port Adelaide, obviously has won a couple of premierships and a Brownlow medal. So often the first thing I get asked when I meet people is, any relation to Gavin. But if you're in South Australia, most people will ask me if I'm related to Michael Wanganeen, which is my mother's father, who is very, very respected and well accoladed Aboriginal footballer in South Australia as well. But again, when we catch up next time, I can go through that. We're going to
get like a whole hour episode, all right?
Amazing.
So listeners, watch this space so we can actually hear more about this amazing man's family, but also in terms of just being here at Garma. Have you seen Mob here? Like, have you connected with anyone that you're related to? Because I have.
Yeah, well, I can imagine you would be. Every time you turn around, there'd be someone there. But no, unfortunately not. I think being from probably the othermost southern point from where we are at the moment is where my mob are from. So, no, I don't think so. And given that this is the first year back, but I'll be going home and sharing, and hopefully that, we can start to send some more followers up in the years to come.
And what's been your highlight? So I don't know, you're probably going to have to, there's probably two or three. Try and narrow it down, even if it's one or two.
This is hard. Yeah, exactly. I think, look, the whole experience in itself has been amazing. We've just come back from the cultural walk this morning with Guru Guru, which was unbelievable to, kind of go down and through this dense bushland down here and teach us a little bit about that. But I think, honestly, just being here with my colleagues and seeing all of the art and dance and music, and just to be able to share that with the people that, I work with and I'm friends with has been unbelievable. So
it is. It's that whole experience. You can't kind of pinpoint it to one, two or three things that have happened, because there's so much happening and still more on the program. So there's a morning tour, there's an afternoon tour. So
2:00.
I will probably miss the tour because I'm going to try and do some more recordings, but I just want to say thank you for stopping by and saying hello.
No, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. And I just want to say really quickly before I forget, I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to come along with you and your staff, your peoples, your mob, the AGL mob, and I've already given it up. That's where you work, but you're going to do your introduction. But it's been an absolute privilege to spend the last couple of days with you. So can you introduce yourself to our listeners and now viewers on YouTube? What's your name, the organisation, and even what you do?
Hey Mandanara, so great to be here with you and really great to be able to share. First time for me at Garma and really amazing to be able to share it with you. So great to have you. I'm Catherine Mooney. I'm Senior Stakeholder Relations Manager at AGL. I've come all the way to Garma from Kaurna country in Adelaide, where I live with my family and really get to work with Kaurna mob, which is a huge highlight of my job.
And I was just going to say, we were on the same plane together.
Yeah.
To come to this festival and didn't even know it.
Yeah, amazing.
Because I live on the Sunshine Coast, which is Cubby country, and usually fly in and out of Maroochydore. But I went via Adelaide this time, and we got off the plane and realised that we were actually part of the same crew.
You completely threw me. I didn't know you were going to be on the plane, and it really spun me out, so it was great to see you.
I didn't know either. It was last minute kind of, actually there was no flights from Sydney and Brisbane. And when a client said, can you come to Adelaide? And I said, only if there's a flight from Adelaide to Darwin. That's the only way I could actually get to Garma.
You just needed to come to Adelaide.
I had to come to Adelaide. So in terms of being at this festival, you did mention it's your first time. What's been your highlight so far?
I mean, everything's been amazing. It's been such an eye-opener. Yolngu people, so progressive. I mean, the forum that we attended yesterday was incredible. But the dancing, you know, from all of the men and the women and the children last night was just, I mean, how could you not? Like, it just really, you know, kind of reached into your heart and kind of grabbed onto that. And it was amazing. The colour and the movement and to see
that red dirt, that dust.
Yeah, incredible.
Just flicks up.
What a skill.
And they're going to do it all again on the bunggul grounds at 4:00. So we don't want to miss that. I also want to just say really quickly, in terms of the speakers, there have been many speakers and there are still more to come. Who has been someone, whether you knew of, didn't know of, that's kind of stuck with you, made you think, or you went back to your tent and kind of looked them up?
We're at a forum earlier today and Jaro Yunupingu spoke so passionately. But what really stuck with me was just the, the passion for looking forward and the passion for, looking forward. And not only when Garma was first set up many, many years ago, but still today and instilling that in young people and in children. And it's just incredible to see. So that was a huge highlight for me. I loved it.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm going to say thank you for dropping into my office. As you can see, I've got the best spot here, but it's been an absolute, like I said, it's been a privilege to be able to spend a couple of days with you. So thank you.
And Mandanara, I'm going to teach you in Kaurna language, if I can, with respect out of Kaurna elders.
Yes.
We say Natalia, which means thank you and with respect. So Natalia.
Well, Natalia, thank you for jumping on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Turn away from prejudice and hate. You know, not too late, not too late.
That was just part one of the Garma special. Get ready. There are many other voices and stories still to be shared on the next episode. So keep your ears out or check our socials, as we'll probably drop another few teasers in the next couple of days. I'm still on cloud nine after being back on Cubby country for the last week and a half. Garma leaves you, I would say, with your cup full. It leaves you with hope and a lot more optimism in terms of this country, our history, and what's going to happen in terms of the next chapter, I would say, with our new Prime Minister and his commitments. I really do hope that you took something away from every single person that I had the pleasure of yarning with, hearing their stories, what they do, the organisations that they represent, and the hard work that all of our mob are doing day in and day out, not just 9 to 5, right? It's 24/7 as a black fella. You're constantly, you got obligations to family, to community, holding down a job, and for a lot of us also trying to raise our families at the same time. So Garma definitely has a special place in my heart. And I hope if you haven't heard of Garma, after listening to this episode, that you put Garma on your bucket list and get up to Arnhem Land for next year. So until next time, bye for now.
Don't forget to follow Black Magic Woman podcast on all social media platforms. To keep up to date with the latest episodes and news, head to blackmagicwoman.com.au. You can rate and review the podcast on iTunes, and please feel free to share the podcast with your family and friends.